Welcome back for another video. In this video we're going to look at the best players to buy for Gameweek 17 and beyond using projected points for every player. Lots to discuss this week, including several injured players. Let's start off with the goalkeepers. Ederson's top with 4.3 projected points. They're home to Crystal Palace, who look to have picked up a further 3 injuries last match, with Edouard off at half time, Lerma and Johnston in the second half. Keep an eye out for Hodgson's presser on Friday if Johnston's your only playable keeper. Bournemouth are starting to find their stride, players understanding Iriola's system, and they're on a run of 4 wins and a draw in their last 5, with clean sheets in their last 2. Neto's 4.5 mil and he's home to Luton this weekend. After that they've got Forest and then Fulham. Neto's prevented 2.1 expected goals on target this season, which ranks 5th best among all keepers. Keepers in general have been a bit of a nightmare for any of us this season, and the data shows it. This season, 67 clean sheets is a record low since the 2011-12 season, and we've had a record high 499 goals to this point. On top of that, we've had Ariola missing a couple of games with a wrist injury, Turner losing his spot and then taking it back, and there's some others like Sarr and Addison missing games. There's even rumours of a Dubravka shoulder injury, but nothing particularly reliable confirming it as of yet, but one to keep an eye on. Raya's also projected 4 points along with Neto. Given how scarce the clean sheets have been, he might be the simple answer. Given that Arsenal's 12.35 expected goals conceded ranks best in the league. Raya's top among all keepers for projected points over the next 5 as well, though he has made a few mistakes in recent matches. It looks like double Gameweek 20 is off, and the next possible slots to reschedule the Man City vs Brentford game will be in Gameweek 21, 24 or 25. Ederson could still be a handy asset nearer the time, but not right now before the blank in 18. On to defenders, and we'll start with Trent, who's home to Man United and he's top of the projections this week with 5.3. He actually snatched 2 bonus points against Palace despite no returns, which shows what a great game he actually had there. His last 5 returns are 4, 12, 13, 8 and 7. The fixtures have turned a little bit now, with Man United, Arsenal and Newcastle in their next 4, but if you have a route to him, he's still an option. The question is whether he's worth the 1.1 mil over Trippier. On paper, probably not, though Trippier misses Gameweek 17 through suspension, so he's not an option this week. From Gameweek 18, he's got Luton and then Nottingham Forest before 2 tougher games to Liverpool and Man City. The suspension's at least good news for Livramento owners, who we know will start in his favoured right back position. Dan Burn is set to return from injury imminently. He might even make the bench for the AC Milan game, something to be mindful of. James drops out of the projections after an early substitution with injury on the weekend. It's feared that it could be a hamstring injury which will sideline him for a bit. Colwill and Thiago Silva didn't start that match, but they make the table for the Sheffield United fixture at Stamford Bridge. Cucurella also potentially injured, which at least guarantees Colwill starts if he's out for the weekend. Thiago Silva got rest. We've said in earlier videos that he is certain to get a rest or 2 this month at his age and in such a packed schedule, so he's an avoid. Let's talk about Pedro Porro, who picked up his 6th assist of the season against Newcastle in the 4-1 win. Really good performance again from him. And as a consequence of Maddison's injury, he's been taking set pieces and corners. Since Maddison was sidelined with injury, among defenders, Porro's top for chances created, shots taken, touches in the penalty area and expected goal involvement. It's a perfect week to consider him for 5.4 mil before a run of Forest, Everton, Brighton and Bournemouth. Only Trippier's got more returns than Porro among defenders with 7 assists to Porro's 6. Over the last 6 game weeks, Bournemouth were actually 2nd best in the league for expected goals conceded, and as such, Senesi and Kirkes make the table this week before facing Luton at home. Luton's 5.95 non-penalty expected goals in away matches is 2nd worst, only Sheffield United have fared worse. If you own Palace defenders, it's time to get rid, with Man City next and some more tough games on the horizon. The Villa defenders don't make the table this week, but they're worth a look at. Conte's 4.5 mil, Pau Torres 4.6 mil. They're away to Brentford next, which isn't the easiest fixture, but of course they are missing Mbumo, and then they're home to Sheffield United in Gameweek 18. Let's look at the midfielders. This week, Salah's 7.3 projected points is top. We'll talk more on Haaland's injury shortly, but with that in mind, he looks like the standout captain this week. Man United are 12th best for expected goals conceded this season, and they visit Anfield off the back of a loss to Bournemouth. Son is 2nd with 6.2 projected points, a price rise for him just 2 days after a price fall after a 17-pointer on the weekend. Something to monitor is the return of Richarlison and his role in the team. Postecoglou says best positions through the middle as a number 9, though we saw Son's output suffer when he was deployed wide earlier in the season. Though he's no doubt aware of this, and he may still play Son through the middle or have them rotate during matches even. It has been agreed that Son's going to fly to join Korea's camp for the Asian Cup after Spurs play Bournemouth on the 31st of December, so straight after Gameweek 20. Quite fittingly, Palmer at 5.5 mils projected 5.5 points for the Sheffield United game. He picked up his 4th yellow card of the season against Everton, one more and he'll be suspended for 1 match, unless he makes it to 19 matches, after which point it extends to 10 required. Sterling also won away from suspension, and he was a surprise benching on the weekend, but is expected to return to the starting 11 this week. He's on 5.3 points. He's got a stellar record against promoted side of 20 returns in his last 18 games. Gordon's projected 4.6 points with Newcastle home to Fulham. As a reminder, there's midweek European games on this week. Arsenal, Man United, Man City, Newcastle, Liverpool, Aston Villa, Brighton and West Ham all play before Gameweek 17. In Newcastle's case, it's a crucial home game to AC Milan. They need a result to try and make it out their group. Newcastle's injury crisis couldn't have come at a worse time in such a busy period. On the one hand, Gordon's nailed, and without competition he's playing every game, but on the other hand it's clearly costing them results. Barnes could be back in the team next week as well, so he might well get reduced minutes as soon as that happens, though Barnes in right wing also a possibility. If this video has been helpful so far, hit like to show support and make sure you subscribe in. Let's move on to the forwards. Let's talk about Haaland first. Pep hasn't given much away as usual. He said he's got a stress on his foot, not a fracture. The word going around is that it could be a stress fracture. I had the idea to look up whether anyone Haaland follows plays FPL, which led to an interesting rabbit hole. It turns out his mate plays FPL and he sold Haaland before the Luton game, as did many others in the leagues that he's in, so word got around between them. Haaland's family also play FPL and they all sold him before Gameweek 16. His dad, his girlfriend and his brother all sold Haaland. My interpretation is they wouldn't have all done this for one game week. It wouldn't have made much sense if there was a chance he's back for the Palace home game where he'd be the best captain. We may not see him until Gameweek 19 at the earliest. With that all in mind, who are the best replacements if selling? Watkins perhaps the most logical, as he's arguably the best captain in Gameweek 18 when Haaland blanks, so you want him in your team. If you already own Watkins, then very close behind it has to be Solanke of Luton home next, and then he's got Forest and then Fulham. So Solanke looks perfect as a 2 or 3 Gameweek pick, and then you could bring Haaland back in accordingly when available. It's a much closer call for a -4 hit though, and it may depend on who you're forced to play if you keep Haaland. For example, if it's a Palace defender away to City, then the hit looks worth it. Really, beyond Solanke and Watkins, the other forwards look like avoids. Darwin, Jackson, Jesus, Isak, Mopai. Semenyo for 4.6 mil doesn't make the table, but he's got 5 starts on the bounce, 6 in his last 7. He's a cheaper route into that Bournemouth attack. Perhaps if you want to keep Haaland and just replace Archer instead as an example. That's the other argument for holding Haaland though. Assuming he misses Gameweek 17 but back for 19, that's 2 transfers booked in, and transfers are very valuable. Thanks for watching. There's more great FPL content to come this week, so make sure you're subscribed. See you soon for the next one.